a new religion has been born fairly recently that is just for digital geeks. But it's a religion that has all the features of traditional religions. Its believers are as intense as believers in other religions and as unable to empathize with people who don't believe as any other sort of believer. This religion doesn't exactly have a name, but it's sometimes called posthumanism or singularitarianism, or other sorts of odd names. There's a thing called the singularity, which is supposed to be a moment that'll happen maybe in the 2020s sometime, when all the computers get so good they start redesigning their own successors and the process of computer improvement speeds up, and suddenly they take over the world in the blink of an eye, and then the big computer at the core of the internet becomes so big that it's so capacious it just figures out a way to scan all our brains, and then we live forever within it. Now, if this sounds goofy, it is really, really goofy. But it's also incredibly influential in the technical world. You see books about the singularity and related ideas all the time in computer science departments. And these ideas, rather than being fringy, are very mainstream in the technical world and extraordinarily influential. There's a university called the Singularity University devoted to nothing but teaching this theology that's next door to Google and has full attendance, despite it being quite expensive. And it's extraordinary to me how just loony, how off-kilter that stuff is. But at any rate, what I propose in the book is that even though there's no absolute test or absolute confirmation of any hypothesis about whether people and machines are ultimately the same or different, if we don't believe that people are supernaturally better than machines, we'll write crap software. In order to believe that the computers are coming alive, in order to scoop up our brains so that we won't have to die, and we can enjoy this pristine denial of sexuality, aging, and death that Turing longed for, you have to pretend that computers are doing the work that people are actually doing. And an enormous amount of computer engineering is actually devoted to creating this illusion. Huge, epochal, global resources are devoted to creating this illusion at the direction of engineers. Now, I also should say at this point that when I talk about this stuff, I live this really weird life because all the people I'm criticizing are close friends. So, the people the Google kids and Ray Kurzweil, who's a big singularity guy, he founded that university I mentioned. These are all people I know, and so nothing I'm saying to you would be different from what I would say to them. They all know I say these things, but it's a very peculiar life I'm leading at the moment. But at any rate, let me give you some examples of how this ritual design process works. Since Microsoft's been supporting my research, I'm going to start by ratting on them because I'm about to criticize some of the others and I want to keep it balanced. Fair and balanced, you know. So you're typing in Microsoft Word and suddenly the thing decides, hey, this user wants to start an outline. And now you're in outline mode. And you go, oh, no, it went into outline, oh no, and then you have to sort of pick your way out of it. Now, I know the people who did that, and they're lovely, sweet people I really like. I count as friends. The main guy I've known for 30 years. But they really do kind of believe this stuff. And so from their perspective, the computer's getting smart. It's turning into your partner. But the problem is that there's no objective way to measure if they're right. Because they say, look, it's getting to know better when you want to start an outline. But what I think is happening is that users are just putting in double effort to try to figure out how to avoid triggering the outline. And the problem is there's no way you can discern which is really happening. Within the boosterism of the people who oppose my ideas the most, within the Web 2.0 people and the artificial intelligence people and the post-humanist, singularity-obsessed people, within all of these movements you see what on the surface looks like boosterism and positivity, but underneath is a profound skepticism of human potential and a profound dismissal of human nature as a good thing, as something to be furthered. So I think I'm still playing the role of the optimist. It's just that the situation has become a little more complex and twisted. There's a personality type which identifies with the ideas I criticize, and this becomes a sort of a difficult and hard to talk about area, but I'll touch on it. There's what we could call an Asperger's related cognitive style, and it eschews societal influence because it doesn't receive signals from people all that well. And so I don't think society's been influencing technological design so much, broader society. However, technological designs do influence. In fact, they practically dictate a great many societal designs. So the influence is almost entirely from the geeks outward, and there's very, very little influence from the outside society back to the geeks. Essentially, that's a feedback channel I'm attempting